As you're listening to this show, you're probably training for a race. But how dialed in is your race nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration has a free online planner that you can use to work out how much carb, sodium, and fluid you need to perform at your best. Brady regularly uses this resealable 90-gram gel on his longer runs. Click the link in the show notes to use the planner to personalize your strategy for your next race. Then use the code INSIDE, all capitals, to get 15% off your first order of fuel and electrolytes and help support the show. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to episode number 335 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big show coming at you. Mostly we're talking about the World Cross Country Championships tonight. A bit of running news out of Sydney as well with the Albie Thomas Mile. Moose will go on the loose. A great listener question. I liked reading that one about 20 minutes ago, Croaks, when I was looking through the show notes. And some super exciting news coming up down at the running company Geelong in collaboration, I guess, with Precision Fuel and Hydration. Welcome to my co-host. He's up in Canberra. Bradley Croker, how are you this week?
Good, thanks, Brady. Yeah, it's a nice public holiday. Hope you had a good Easter.
It feels like we've done heaps of episodes in the last 6 months on public holidays. It was like Christmas, it was like Boxing Day and New Year's Day, both Mondays as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that'll do it.
That will do it and gets the public holiday rate up, which is good. My other co-host is down in Anglesea, just telling me off air that he's made a big purchase over the last couple of days, but looking forward to getting into that a bit later on. Julian Spence, how are you going this week?
I'm going all right. I had a bit of a funny week of training, but I've knocked off work today. A bit late. It was busy in the store on a public holiday. Probably didn't plan for it to be that busy. So I got hammered for about 5 hours straight.
You work public holidays so you don't have to pay anyone else to work them?
Oh, exactly,
That's how it works,
You know how much that shit costs?
What is it, double time today?
I reckon double time, yeah, which is a lot. I reckon, for some reason I thought it was maybe a little bit more. I don't know. We had Toby in there. He was on public holiday rates. As soon as he sat down to have his lunch, I'm like, fucking get up and do some cleaning. I'm paying you something bucks an hour for this. You're not getting lunchtime.
If you're good at half the numbers, now everyone knows Toby Mendes' pay rate. What else? Did that storm hit you guys today?
You have to get that beep out, Brady. Now that you've got all these like special effects on your microphone, you'll be able to put a beep straight over it.
We are rolling new microphones this week. It just took us about 20 minutes to figure out how to set them up and record them and stuff. And because I've got the producer stuff in my corner, I do have all these little sound effects that I can put in. This one's going to be after jokes, boys. You hear that one? Probably won't get a workout at all, that one, because there's not too many funny things said.
Not on Croaks' end.
I've got air horn here. So I feel like I'm in a hip-hop band or something like that. So, yeah, looking forward to potentially...
I think you should give this a spell.
Not pushing any of those buttons, but it's good to know they're there. Let's chat about some running. Moose, you want to go first? You did hint at your week being a bit up and down.
It was a bit weird. I had a sore knee on the Monday, got out for 30 minutes or so. Wasn't too bad. And then Tuesday morning, woke up. I thought, knee's a bit sore, but I'm going to do a workout. It was fine, actually. Throughout the workout, didn't feel it once. Went to the track, ran at Deakin. Beautiful morning. Could not fault it one bit. Ran 2 by a K, then 2 by 2K, and 2 by a K. So I just didn't want to. We did 8 by a K the week before, and I was thinking I could probably just do that session again. It's almost the perfect session for what we need now, but I thought we'll just change it up a little bit. So we went 1K 305, second K was 307. That was Kieran pacing that rep. It was a bit slow. Didn't quite get the hint after I clipped him like 4 times during the rep. You ever have someone you run with who you just clip all the time? Like it's just something about his back leg lift, and you're like extension. It just didn't line up well at all, and I just kept clipping him. But then I saw the the split time at the end, and I thought, oh, that's on you. You're just too slow. So I was in my rhythm for 3:05s, and you were running too slow. So you'd think you'd get the hint if you get clipped 4 times.
Was he taking splits every like 200 metres?
Beg your pardon?
Was he taking splits like every 200 metres?
He was looking at his watch. I don't know what he was doing, but he was looking at his watch.
Not paying attention.
So
KP.
that was the.
But Moose, is a 3:05 and like a 3:07 instead of a 3:05 really going to impact things much?
Well, it's going to impact my rhythm clearly.
Doesn't look as good on Strava either, does it?
Well, when you work out 3:05, just run 3:05. Surely, I mean he can do it. Why is he 2 seconds slow if he can do it? It's not that hard. He kept up for the rest of the workout fine. And I just don't know why you're so far off, especially when you come round and you can see, you're looking at your watch going, gee, I'm slow here. Probably should pick it up. Next 200, still slow. Next 200, still slow. Like, okay, probably pick it up for that last lap maybe, just to hit the split. It's nice to hit the split. They were the 2Ks, then had 90 seconds between them. Then ran 2 by 2K. We ran 6:29 and 6:29 even, 2 minutes between that. And then we got quicker again, 3:04, 3:05 for the last 2Ks. So not a bad workout. I mean, it's probably not knocking it out of the park, but these guys, Ali, she's still bridging across from Osaka to Hamburg, and I think Kieran's trying to bridge across as well, except Kieran, he had more of a rest after the marathon because he's the only one that ran 42K. So he deserved more of a break. So he's coming back a little gingerly. I think he's got a bit of a niggle at the moment. That was the workout on Tuesday. We probably felt those guys ran further on Sunday, so they were feeling that tight turnaround, the Sunday to Tuesday morning turnaround. I didn't have that big of a Sunday, 25K only, so it wasn't bothering me too much. Wednesday, just jogged maybe just jogged once actually, 26th, 27th. Yeah, just jogged once, half an hour. I think potentially I had a sore little knee that next morning as well. That just annoying me a little bit there. I jogged in the afternoon. Then 40 minutes on the Thursday, and then we did a workout Friday. So we had public holiday. It was Easter Friday, so we had a decent group. So we went into the new workout estate, and I had a longer fartlek planned. So the workout was a progressive fartlek. Now I know this might sound complicated, but it actually wasn't too bad. So it was 2 lots of 5 minutes, and the plan was to start at 3:35s, and then it was like a yo-yo. So it was 2 by 5 minutes at 3:35, 5 minutes at 3:15. And then we went into 2 sets of 3 minutes, 3:30, 3 minutes, 3:10, and then 3 sets of 2 minutes at 3:25, 2 minutes at 3:05, and then 4 sets of 1 minute solid, 1 minute float. So I took the paces off the end. I didn't really want people fully bearing themselves, trying to hit a certain pace, but I still wanted them to work hard towards the end. So in the end, 42 minutes of running. These were the splits that I got. 3:33, 3:15, 3:30, 3:10, 27:12, 22:07, 23:06, 21:06, 15:02, 22:05, 32:01, 28, 2:56. So the floats got a little slower at the end, but the ons got a little faster. It was a really good workout. We did this as a group. I had Gunther, Lockie Doak, and Leo, Chris Cook's son. They came down again on the Saturday night. On the Thursday night, had a surf, and then joined the workout on Friday morning. So he's running along in his basketball shorts, no top on, just like smashing us. Kept up with me the whole way. Dropped Gunther and Doki. It's pretty fun to see.
You love this kid.
Pardon?
You love this kid.
Love the old school approach.
Yeah.
Got this long flowing hair, just like no cares.
So how much faster did you run the session, Moose, because he was there than what you would have done?
Well, I was having trouble dropping him, so that was the issue again. I thought, I'll dump Doki pretty quick. He actually held on fairly strongly. Gunther, next one off. I'm like, all right, just me and the kid now. Surely after 42 minutes, he's training for like a 1500 or something, 3K. Surely he can't go 40 minutes, like progressive run as the pace gets quicker. But yeah, he did. Stuck with me the whole way. So kudos to him.
Which way did you go around the housing estate?
We went, I'm going to call that anti-clockwise because it is anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise around, which is the long uphill on the back with a shorter downhill on the front.
There's no hills there. I've been there.
because it's a loop, it all evens out.
That's
Brady.
better for the GPS though, that way that you went.
Is what, sorry?
That's better for your GPS. Watches on the inside. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well, it
that.
depends, Moose. Which arm do you have your watch on, your left or your right?
Left, but I was always way out on the outside, mate. Just I'd go around, I'd say I'm a bit fitter than these blokes, so I'll just run the longest route and they can have the shortest route.
Just swing your arm around, just trying to get it wide and hook it back in.
Good bloke stuff. I expect them to slow down too. If you're going around a corner, is that your expectation in a group workout?
That you back off the pace.
The person turning the tight corner has to slow down?
Yeah, well, you kind of naturally have to slow down in and out of the corner, don't you? That's why when you see GPS jump down to like 230k pace on people's GPS files, you know that there's something going on there and it's not accurate data. Because you're slowing down to get around those corners, and then all of a sudden the GPS data says that you're going even quicker.
I don't reckon there's much change in mine around those corners. I'm just having a look.
Yeah, because you went the right way. Because it's a mile a loop, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Anyway, let's move on. That was Friday. Ran on Sunday late morning. Had a bit of a brutal one. This was 45 minutes over some hills. I don't know why I keep running on hills, but I'm just so sick of running small flat loops. And there's a lot of people in town, so I wanted to get out of town a bit. So I just ran 10K. Too many hills for what I needed. It wasn't real fast, but it was difficult. Had a bit of a sore knee again, so I smashed some anti-inflams. Woke up Sunday, still felt it. Took the dog for a bike ride, and on the way just did feel the knee a little bit. And I thought, this could get a bit shit on this long run. But as soon as I started, knee felt wonderful, and I ran 31k, and we got moving too. So on the schedule for Ali, she's got Sundays as steady over hills. So we get after it, especially the first probably. As soon as we hit the first hill, we got going. And Ali had the loop planned. We ran out towards Coal Mine Road, along Coal Mine Road, which is an undulating closed road. It's close to the traffic because it's still the coal mine's going through this rehabilitation process where it's getting back to use it for some sort of tourism or eco thing, whatever. But the road there is shut, so it's a really nice road for running on without traffic. Then we hooked up down towards Aries Inlet. We went up a pretty steep road, then down a very steep hill and up like a fucking sheer wall, which nailed me. Nearly got dropped, but didn't. And then we dropped down the hill and we ran a bit flatter for the last bit. But towards the end of the run, I was feeling actually really good. I was going to cut it earlier than this, but I just felt good. And I could have kept going here. Like I could have run for another probably half an hour, I reckon. So that was the first real sign for me, outside the workout on Friday going really well, that this was, the fitness is starting to get there. But the knee is not great. So I'm having to manage doing workouts with just having real recovery days in between. So I ran 100K and the middle, like the days in between were like 30 to 45 minutes as jogging. So it's a bit of a different approach. It worked pretty well last week. Felt like I could nail the workouts when I'm only jogging half an hour between and get a good long run in, but I just can't do a lot of volume on this knee.
Will you be okay now to front up for Tuesday morning? Or because you know how you had Tuesday and then you had 2 days to get the knee right, and then another 2 days to get the knee right for Friday, and then 2 days to get it right for Sunday? Like, how's it going to go Sunday through to Tuesday?
Yeah, the Sundays are getting a bit hard to roll Wednesdays now. So we've moved to Wednesday session. Okay. The distance is too long on Sunday, and it's too hard. So we moved to Wednesday session, and this Sunday is Geelong Half Marathon. So I'll do the workout with Ali on Wednesday, and then I've got an extra day to get right for Sunday. So I'll just cruise for the week, and I'm not planning on increasing my mileage. That's where I think I've got in the trap in the past. Whereas it doesn't seem like the intensity is a real problem for the knee, just running a bit like more longer, frequent distance.
Yeah. So you're going all out in a half?
Oh, yeah, I plan to. I'm looking forward to it. Love to get back on the scoreboard to finish a race, Croaks. Or I'm sure you got a half marathon joke lined up there.
Half of a half marathon joke.
Gee, I could write your fucking jokes for you if you wanted.
What time do you reckon you'll run, Moose? What's your prediction?
What's what?
What time do you think you'll run?
Oh, nah, I'm going to try to. I want to race it. I don't think if I'm going to run maybe with Matt, and I got Hardy out there. So 2 guys I coach are running. So Gunther, I don't know, he might be 68 mid fitness, maybe 69 low. And then Hardy, he might even be a little fitter. So I reckon we can run as a bit of a pack, us 3. There's always someone that shows up, runs like 65 minutes, comes down from Melbourne, like you never heard of him before. And one bloke come over from the UK and did it, like he was just on holiday here and he smoked everybody. So it's a bit of a random one like that. You get a few rogue operators showing up. But I reckon us 3 could run as a group to at least like 15K and then just see what happens. It's fun when you race with mates. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Ben Kelly's running, I heard, out of Melbourne. Reese Edwards' training partner.
There you go. He might be the rogue 64 guy.
Easy prize money, I heard he was quoted saying.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's that much prize money, is it?
Yeah, 600 didn't we work out last week or the week before?
Yeah. Is he staying down or driving down?
Just driving down, getting paid, going home.
There you go.
That's what my whispers tell me.
Daniel Hart might have something to say about that.
Can't roll into Geelong and beat all the Geelong boys.
You may have trouble getting out of town.
In what?
Yeah.
Roadblock.
With that money. I'll let him out, but he's got to give that cash up.
Yeah, spend half of it at the running company before you leave.
Yeah, that's right. That tent's parked in front of his car. Just put the marquee up just behind it.
Yeah, that's a good week. What have you been doing, Croaks?
Well, outside of getting a house ready to sell, I got through a fair bit of running, actually, for me. Cracked 100K for the first time in like 7 weeks. So, yeah, my week started off, like I was pretty tired at the start of the week. I just hadn't been sleeping that well. So, like, we recorded the podcast sort of around lunchtime. I went to the gym that afternoon on the Monday, and like I was just a zombie. You know that feeling where you're like sleep deprived and you're almost like sort of half like hungover, sort of drunk type feeling. That's how I felt on Monday. So I went to the gym, just did my normal sort of routine there. And then Tuesday I went out to train with the group at the track. So the session was 8 times 800 meters off 1 minute standing recovery. So I did this session with Rob. So we basically just took turns at leading reps. And so for me, it was like all the reps were between 236 and 239. So what's that, sort of 78 to 79 sort of second laps. Felt really smooth, comfortable, recovering well. My last lap of my last rep was like significantly faster. So I ran my last rep at 229, but overall it felt like pretty comfortable session. Just one of those.
You dump Rob that last rep?
Dump Rob, yeah.
King,
but
King Croaks.
Isn't Rob like 10 days out from a marathon as well? Like just needs a little confidence boost to roll it into Canberra, and his coach just fucking drops him.
Hey, well, it did pretty well to stay with him for the first 7.5 reps.
Could have really got his confidence up.
But yeah, like so that's for me running just under 3:20s for 2.5 minutes. So that's sort of just bread and butter type sort of session. Then Wednesday, actually it was really busy at the track. It was pretty hectic because the Socceroos were playing at like 7:45 and we finished the session at like 7 o'clock. So it was pretty hectic out at the track that night. Wednesday morning got up. Was that sorry?
You were running around the track where they were playing in the middle, half an hour after.
So the games at the GIO Stadium, which is where like the Raiders play, but then the athletics track's next to that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Wednesday got out for my sort of midweek long run, so I'm slowly starting to increase these a little bit. So I did just over 18k 420s. Felt pretty good. My calves, I had a little bit of DOMs from the track. Like even though it's funny, the track and DOMs, it's like the paces definitely weren't fast, but it's just something different. That like eccentric loading or whatever you get from the track that just made my calves a bit tender. But yeah, it was a good run. Thursday afternoon after work, I went out to Mulligan's, jumped in the New Balance Rebel for the first time. I know we spoke about them last week where I thought this would be my sort of 35-minute sort of run if I wanted to do some strides afterwards. I really enjoyed it. Like I know, Brady, you were saying that like you can sort of feel the like rocks and things underneath your feet at times, but like I didn't notice any of that at Mulligan's. But I guess the trails there's not too many sort of big rocks. It's a bit more sort of gravel, sandy. So anyway, that was 4:27s for 7.5k. And then Friday, met the group again down at the lake for another one of those sort of bread and butter sessions, 5 by 6 minutes with a 1 minute slow jog for me. There was a variety of different sessions going on because we got a few people training for the marathon. So they were doing one sort of session, and then we had guys that are doing the 10K this weekend. So they were doing another different type of session. And then those that weren't racing were doing the sort of 5 by 6 minutes. So this went really well. I was pretty much rolling like 325s for the, was it? I'll bring them up. I went 327, 325, 324, 325, 321 for the reps. And average jogging pace was sort of 425s. So yeah, it was like 9.7k at like 330 average. Probably like it definitely noticed maybe just a lack of strength. Like once again, I feel like my fitness and not breathing super heavy, not feeling like that pace is fast, but you sort of, as the session gets a little bit longer, you're just like, my legs are just starting to get a little bit sort of heavy, which just comes when you haven't run a lot of miles. Then Saturday, got out for about an hour, I think, at Mulligan's. Let me just check. Yep, hour at 4:22s. Also did gym on the Friday afternoon after the session. And then Sunday, wasn't sure how far I was going to go. Like I know that the Sunday before was a real struggle, but I think it was more to do with just the stress that I'd had during the week, whereas yesterday's run felt amazing. Like averaged 4:13s for 27k, and it was one of those runs where, like you said, Moose, I felt like I could have run for another like half hour. I think it helps, like the weather's like really cool now. Like it was probably 9 degrees when we started. So that makes long runs always feel a little bit easier. So we had, Rob, Aaron, a guy that I coach, and Johnny, who was up from Melbourne, one of Zach's teammates at Melbourne University. So, it was an enjoyable run, and, clocked like 101k for the week.
Johnny Squires
101
from Osaka.
Yep, Johnny Squire, yep.
Good fella. That's good, Croaks.
He's a good fella.
He's a good bloke. Don't know why he's mates with Zach, or if he's that good of a guy, but anyway, often happens.
Yeah, you're saying, like, 'cause he ran a pretty good PB in Osaka, so he said conditions were fine.
He ran like 2:28 or something too, didn't he?
Yeah, broke 2:30.
Pretty good run. Yeah, making us look bad. That's good. Handing out drinks this week at Canberra, aren't you? No races?
No, I won't be racing, but I'll be out on the course. It's always a fun. I really enjoy the weekend, sort of, handing out the bottles to my marathoners and just seeing hopefully all their hard work sort of pays off. And weather's looking pretty good at this stage. I think it's 9 to 24. It says light winds, so should be decent conditions hopefully.
Slow down some of that.
Anyone big running?
No, I haven't heard. I haven't heard who's running from out of town, or even top Canberra guys. So Zach, who I coach, he's probably in sub 230 shape on a flat course. Which some years if you're rolling around sort of 230 in Canberra, you're a chance of winning. So he'll be, I guess, there or thereabouts, depending on obviously who else turns up.
They won't do any press before it, will they?
Rob's having another run. Rob's probably probably his sessions have probably been just as good, if not better, than before Berlin. But obviously Canberra's not Berlin, so if he was to run somewhere around the time that he ran in Berlin, that would be a pretty good day, I reckon.
They won't do any media before the race, Croaks. Sorry, Moose.
Was that sorry?
They won't do any media before the race, about this is the elite fields?
No, they used to have a few articles in the newspaper back when newspapers were a thing. But I doubt they will. If there is anything in the newspaper, it'll be somebody that's running for charity. Won't be the elite field.
How do you rate Canberra compared to some of the other marathons out there?
I think it's very weather dependent, Canberra. So you have the first 21K is probably and because the Canberra course has changed so many times over the years, but the current course, the first 21K is definitely the most challenging in terms of the hills. None of the hills are super steep, but compared to a Gold Coast or Melbourne, so you would probably have the equivalent of the toughest hill in Melbourne. You would have, I'm going to say, you'd probably have 5 or 6 of those at least in Canberra. Some of them probably a little bit steeper and a little bit longer. But
that doesn't make sense because Canberra is 350 metre climbing? Is that right? Elevation?
Something like that. What's Melbourne?
180?
Yeah, but that 180 is all in I don't know. When it comes to like weather dependent though, because the issue with the second half is it's run pretty much on like a major like highway, and the highway runs like east to west, and that's pretty much like the way the wind works in Canberra. It's either easterly or westerly, and so if there is a wind, you're going to have like 7-8 km of like of headwind at some point. And it does get quite blowy. Like, you know, that part, Brady, like that major freeway section.
Yeah, long straights into that makes it hard.
Yeah. But that being said, like you can, like, you know, Nick Earl ran 220. I think Nick Earl ran 220 or maybe broke 220. Like I ran 224 on the old course, like in old shoes. So like I guess you can run pretty well on it.
In old shoes. Fucking hell.
In old shoes.
Stop? Can you stop?
Oh, so you're saying there's no difference then?
Oh, can you say I ran 227 with old gels too. Back then there was old gels. We didn't have any of this Morton stuff.
You know what I'm getting at though, Moose. So you're saying, well, if the shoes don't make any difference, why do people come down and spend all that money on a super shoe?
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying.
There you go, listeners. No need to head down there for super shoes anymore.
Every time these old fuckers, Brady, say something now, old shoes.
Well, my PB's in super shoes, but I'm just like you have to admit there's some benefit.
Depends if you're a responder or not, Croaks.
Always.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you're allowed to say a time. You're allowed to say a time and not say old shoes.
Well,
Chris,
I think it's fair for guys like Mona to be able to say, yeah, I ran 208 in a pair of friggin' Dunlop volleys.
We know it's old shoes. You're old. You wore old shoes.
Well, actually, when I ran Canberra, it was pretty much just on the cusp of them. It was 2017, so it was, that transition period.
That was the first interview I ever did with you.
All right, all right, Moose, your next marathon, if I was to track you down a pair of Nike Streak 6s, could you run a marathon in those for me and see how you go?
Why would I want to?
Would you run as fast as you would in a pair of Alphafly 3s?
I have not argued
finish?
that they're not good for you. I'm just saying, do we need to keep the old shoes thing?
Well, we're getting back at the whole, because 220, okay, in a pair of super shoes then, I'll probably run 221 in Canberra.
3 minutes.
Or 222, which goes to show that it's obviously like not a super, super tough course.
I'll accept that your 224 was a good run at Canberra, and it shows that it's not that tough of a course.
All right.
Yeah, what did I run for the half there, Croaks? 68? That was windy that day.
Yeah, which, as I said, it's very weather dependent. It's also at altitude, Moose, remember? Altitude?
I'll pay the altitude for sure. That's a hard work up there.
Less hilly the half, though. The hills in like the first 2 or 3K, and then it's pretty flat.
Yeah, the half's definitely the flattest course out of all three.
All right, good work.
Is it prize money?
No, so I think it's $1,000 for the marathon, maybe like 400 for second, couple hundred for third, maybe
500 for the half.
Yeah.
You get coaches split if your athlete wins it. You got something in their contract about that? Sign up bonus?
No, they get to keep the money.
I'm surprised actually you haven't got some clause in there. If you get any prize money, a bit has to go to the coach, especially with the new mortgage.
Not a manager, I'm a coach. They pay me for coaching.
Do both. I'll whistle through this week, fellas. Didn't do much running. Monday, 16K at 4:52 pace. I was still feeling sick, so I had Monday afternoon off. Started to go downhill, actually. I've been sick for like 2.5, 3 weeks, and then, Monday night I'm like, probably got to do something about this. Can't just keep running, expecting your body's going to bounce back and feel okay. So Tuesday I took the day off fully. That didn't really help me much. Wednesday I went out for 10K at 4:43 pace. And then I went to the doctors after that. And then, the doctor didn't know if it was viral or bacterial. Are they the right words I'm using there? So he gave me some nasal spray and he gave me some antibiotics to use for 5 days. And I'm just starting to come good. Yeah, probably started coming good Saturday, Sunday. So it took a while to kick in, but feeling a bit better now. Thursday I just did 8K at 4:49s. Friday was still easy again, 14K at 4:43s. Saturday, I was coming good Saturday. So I tried a little workout. I just did 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute times 2 with 80 seconds slow jog between. Didn't have any pace showing on my watch or anything like that. Just wanted to work a bit quicker. Kind of progress them as the reps got shorter. So that was good to kind of do that and get through that okay. Then I did 30 minutes on the treadmill the afternoon Saturday. And then Sunday I was all good. So I went out for 2.5 hours solo. Just listened to a few different podcasts. Didn't look at any pace. Got home. It was 4:26 pace. If I had to guess, I thought it might have been like 4:10, 4:15. So I was going a bit slower than I thought I actually was. Bit of single track in there as well, which slowed me down, of course. But, that was 33.8K, week of 103. Feeling much better now, but not ideal when I think that was 5 to 4 weeks out for Ballarat Marathon. So, not 100% sure what's going to happen the next couple of weeks, but feeling like I'm on the right track, but running out of time to do some quality work. So we'll see what happens. Any advice for me, fellas? How do I pull this off?
You ever run a marathon undercooked like that? Like big time undercooked?
Gold Coast was probably I'm usually probably overcooked. Gold Coast was the one where I last year I got sick in the build up to that as well, and I think I missed about a week or 10 days, maybe 5 to 6 weeks out. But I didn't come off another marathon beforehand, like a marathon little break. So, I never have.
A lot of the work a lot of the work you did for Osaka will still be there though. Like you don't lose that stuff overnight. Like especially because you didn't really take. Like it's different if you take like a month off after the marathon and then try and sort of build up. But you hardly took any time off, and so like that stuff that you did will still be there.
Yeah, I probably just need everything to go right between now and race day. Because I did 2 180k weeks the 2 weeks previous to this, so I got some good running in there. But yeah, it's just, I think you're a bit of a perfectionist and you like to see all this training perfect and stuff. So this might be a good thing for me to try something a bit different leading in. Still confident I'm going to get there.
I'm interested in seeing how it goes actually, and how you attack the race too. Can change when you don't have the credit in the bank. Like the training done with a ton of confidence going into a marathon.
Yeah,
it's just interesting to see how your mindset shifts. Like on the start line, 10k in, you won't notice. 10k in, it'll feel great. 20k in, you still might not notice, and so it's very difficult to get your race right when you're not in ideal conditioning.
Yeah, and I think some of the sessions in the next couple of weeks will kind of give me an indication of what conditioning I'm in, hopefully. So I at least get some confidence, because confidence has kind of shot a bit. So yeah, hopefully everything goes smooth from here to there. But
that's where the psychological part's huge, Brady. Like physically, you could actually be on the start line in really good shape, but because you miss like 1 or 2 weeks, if you start having these like negative thoughts, like the mental side's going to stop you from running well more so than like you actually like physically not being fit.
Yeah. But it can also then, which could be good for me, put all that pressure off. Like, and then you kind of don't build it up. You're like, I'm underdone, free shot at the target, see what happens kind of thing. And then surprise yourself a bit.
Yeah. I reckon it's a good opportunity to actually go into a race where you're not necessarily focused on time and just run it purely to feel, because it doesn't matter. Whereas so many marathons you do now, it's always, I need to basically hit roughly this pace for 5K. Yeah. And like, why don't you just go into this one with, hey, you've run enough marathons now, you know how it should feel at particular stages. Let's just run to effort and see what the end result is.
Yeah. Get caught up in a half marathoners in that first lap and just switch off and go with feel, and then see what happens in that second lap when the half finish off. Could be good. I want to see some start lists. I'd love to know who else is running it. But anyway, it's got a month until that. Should we thank some Patreon supporters? Who you got, Bradley?
I got Catherine Joannides this week. Catherine's from Brisbane and appears to be a regular at the Rocks Riverside Park Run with a best time of 23:08. She's also run 49:58 at the 2003 QUT 10K and an hour 44 at last year's Gold Coast Half. I think she might be a director at Deloitte Access Economics with a sector focus on health, disability and aged care. So thank you for your support, Catherine.
Who you got, Moose? Thanks, Catherine,
I
for your
have
support.
Matthew Delahunty. We don't have a LinkedIn profile for Matthew. He's not in that world by the looks of it, or perhaps he's too big for that world. We did find some race results for a Matthew Delahunty, so hopefully it's the same person. If it is him, he ran 82 minutes at the 2022 Sydney Morning Herald Half and 2:53 at the 2022 Gold Coast Marathon. So he's done pretty well there. That's a good turnaround. Sydney Morning Herald Half into 2:53. That's the stepping stone half for the Gold Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, it used to be like mid to late May. This year it's actually first weekend in May, a bit earlier.
Is that the Hoka one now?
Gold Coast is...
Croaks, is that the Hoka one now?
Yeah, it's the Hoka one. And so they've gone, first weekend in May. And they've basically swapped with Sydney 10. Sydney 10 used to be first weekend, and then the half was a couple of weeks later, whereas, they've just swapped it this year.
Yeah, I'm going to thank Jared Hepburn from Wandana Heights in Victoria. His best times, according to Strava, are 18:40 for 5K and 38:55 for 10K, both of which were during training sessions. He's going all right, Croaks. That's pretty good going.
Couldn't find any results on
well,
races on his Strava.
We could find they were 3:14 at the 2022 Melbourne Marathon. So hopefully that's you, Jared, Matthew, Catherine. Massive thanks for your Patreon support over there at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. Very exciting news over the weekend because we have kind of locked in. Haven't got the people to sign contracts yet, but we've got verbal agreements from the 3 people who are going to be on Road to Gold Coast, which is very, very exciting. One of them's been on a Road to before. The other one's featured on a Shoe Geeks episode before. And the third one hasn't been on Inside Running in any aspect before. But I think people would be familiar with the names because we may have read their names out a few times in the results over the years. So that's exciting, fellas. Looking forward to that kicking off. What is it about? How many weeks away? 12?
It's 14. I think it was 14 weeks. 14 weeks yesterday. It was till Gold Coast.
Yeah,
and it'll come around pretty quick.
And another project in the works as well. We're trying to plan one project, and then our minds went in a different direction, and we got another idea to bring to our Patreon, hopefully, as well. So if you're over there wondering where the bonus content is, we'll have an announcement very, very soon about who those people are.
Not all marathoners for this Road 2 series, Brady.
That's right,
half marathoner in there.
Half marathoner in there, yeah. Should be good as well. I'd say one of the guests would be, if we gave a list of names to Patreon supporters and said, who do you want back? I reckon one of these people would be high on that list of people. So stay tuned. We'll have all that to announce next week when we get it fully signed, sealed, delivered, locked in.
As you're listening to this show, you're probably training for a race. But how dialed in is your race nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration has a free online planner that you can use to work out how much carb, sodium, and fluid you need to perform at your best. Then they have a range of fuel and electrolyte products to make it real easy to hit your numbers. Brady regularly uses their resealable 90-gram gel on his longer runs. They also work with a long list of top runners, including 4-time Olympian Lisa Waitman, Hayden Hawkes, and regular guest on the show, Izzy Bat Doyle. Click the link in the show notes to use the planner to personalise your strategy for your next race. Then use the code INSIDE to get 15% off your first order of fuel and electrolytes and help support the show. Patrons can get 20% off using the code shared in our Patreon-only shows. Now let's get back to the show.
Running news, World Cross Country Champs happened. I watched this today. Not much of an atmosphere. You guys seen any of the footage?
No, I haven't.
No, I didn't.
No one there. You can watch it all on World Athletics. I did have to sign in, but I think once you create an account, they, HD, watch the streams. Paula Radcliffe on the microphone and who's the other guy, the British guy? Your mate Moose?
Hutchins?
Yeah, talks about shoes. He didn't talk about shoes too much in this coverage, but he usually talks about the shoes, doesn't he? That guy. Men's race was interesting. The boys cruised around the first couple of laps. Jacob Kiplimo and Cheptegei were kind of out the back. One of the Kenyans, I think it was Rono, he made a bit of a break midway through the race and got away a bit. But then Kiplimo and Cheptegei went to the front, pulled him in, and then... Sorry, Kiplimo, not Cholimo. He's the American guy. And then Kiplimo just ran away with it in the end. He ran 28.09 for the win. Aregawi from Ethiopia was second in 28.12, and Benson Kiplangat, he was third from Kenya in 28.14. But Kiplimo just makes it look super easy. It was a pretty easy course, I'd say. Like there was one mud pit and there were kind of like 2 bridges, which were just kind of like short, sharp run over. There must be, I don't know if it was going over a little footpath or something like that, but relatively flat compared to Bathurst. Yeah, last year, this course was much, much easier. Kind of looked like a bit of a Gels Park kind of vibe, Moose. You know, just up one side of the park and then do a bit of a U-ey around a tree and come back down the other side. All condensed within like...
A lot of corners.
Yeah, a lot of sharp corners. And even like there were trees on the course, like on the actual track, so they had like padding around the trees and stuff so people wouldn't run into them. But yeah, it was very compacted, but the crowds were so small that it wasn't like people were running from point to point. And I did see some like commentary on it on Twitter about how you had to stay in like certain zones. You couldn't follow the runners around the course, kind of like we did at Bathurst. So yeah, but it looked like 200 people were there in the audience. From an Australian point of view, we had Haftu Strintzos. He was our first Australian in 23rd. Ed Marks right behind him in 24th. Liam Adams was 29th. Pat Tiernan 30th. Andre Waring 46th. And Zach Facioni 51. And the teams, so this is the first 4 people across the line count for points. Kenya won with 19 points. Uganda second with 31. That was because Cheptegei, I think, finished like 9th in the end when the moves got made. He kind of dropped out the back pretty quick. Ethiopia were 3rd in 40. Australia, we come 5th in 106. So that's good. We had a strong team in there. 5th when you're talking about Kenya, Uganda and Ethiopia as first, second, thirds. Pretty good showing from Australia. A bit of a changing of the guard too with Haftu and Ed Marks, the top 2 Australians, maybe over Liam and Pat Tiernan boys.
Yeah, like that surprised me, like especially Ed Marks, like that was a sensational run. Yeah, like if you asked me before the race who I thought would be the top Aussie, like I probably would have had Pat. But then I did read that after his marathon, I think he took a bit of time off and he's had a couple of sort of setbacks in the lead up. So maybe not at his best. But yeah, Haftu and Ed Marks, like great runs. And they packed really well, the boys. That's why I guess we finished like 5th because, 23rd, 24th, 29th, 30th. So they're all pretty close. And that would have only been like a few seconds difference between all 4 of them, I'd say.
Yeah, they were coming across, like you see those cross-country results, they coming across the line, pretty close together. In the open women's... sorry, Moose.
Did you see any of the Aussies in the front pack? Or because you said it went out pretty slow. Were they up there mixing it?
I saw Haftu a bit, like when they were showing like a big pan of the lead pack. He was kind of at the back of it for a while there. But once it's split, the coverage is pretty hard to see because it's all in the back of those motorised golf buggers and stuff. You didn't really see them until then they crossed the line at the very end. And it was kind of cool because you could see Haftu's kind of sprinting, trying to be the first Aussie to beat Ed Marks. And then a couple of seconds later, you could see Liam sprinting and looking over his shoulder to see where Pat Tiernan was. So there was like races within the races for those Australian bragging rights, which was cool. Open women, Beatrice Chebet. So she'd done the same thing as Kiplimo, went back-to-back with the championships here. She ran 31.05. Lillian Rengeruk, she ran 31.08. And Margaret Kipkemboi, she was 3rd. She ran 31.09. Kenya won with a team score of 10, Ethiopia 41 and Uganda 44. And the commentary was saying how the Kenyan women's team was so much stronger than the Kenyan men's team because they seemed to think a lot of Kenyan men were gearing up for marathons and world champs and Olympics and stuff like that, whereas a lot of the women kind of focused on world cross country. The Aussies there, we only had the 2. So Paige Campbell was 31st and Melissa Duncan was 53. So, yeah, pretty solid result from Paige there. I'm not sure what she's finished before World Cross Croaks, but I'd say that
29th.
29th,
29th,
yeah, okay.
She finished, yeah. And I heard Melissa Duncan, actually injured herself, may have broken a foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got taken to hospital after the race because she heard a crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was coming over those bridges. Because it was
I'm not sure.
Cross-country course with a bit of mud in it. It looked pretty good, but then you'd kind of have these wooden bridges with carpet on them that were kind of pretty steep up and pretty steep down. So I can imagine the force going through your foot in spikes. That would be the spot to, hurt your foot, I reckon. The under-20s race, this was won by Kenyans Samuel Kabathi. Best placed Aussie was Jack Kumba in 34th. Kenya won the team there, Ethiopia, Uganda. Aussies finished 9th. And then the under-20 race, this was won, the Ethiopian clean sweep. I think this girl, she won, and I think she was 15 or 16. They'd never heard of her before other than her result at the Ethiopian trials. So the commentators were kind of just we don't know any information about this Marta Almayo. But she looked so good, so strong. And yeah, she kind of won pretty convincingly after kind of leading for the majority of probably from the mid-race onwards. Best Aussie was Gabrielle Schmidt in 21st spot. Ethiopia won, Kenya 2nd, Uganda 3rd with the points there. Australia finished 7th. And the mixed relay was interesting. Kenya kind of got out to an early lead, kind of had it sewn up halfway through. And then leading into the last leg, the Ethiopian man was coming in to pass the timing chip to the Ethiopian woman, stepped on the back of her spike, her shoe come off. They're both in the changeover zone thinking, what do we do about this situation? She tried to put it back on And then the Ethiopian guy was like, nah, pretty much just go, hurry up. So she ran the 2K lap with one spike on to hold on to that second position. And Great Britain come through to claim third. Adam Fogg, pretty familiar name to Australians, used to be based up in Queensland. He had a really good third leg where they went from 8th to 4th, and then their last runner took them from 4th to 3rd. So I was watching that this morning thinking, oh, what could have been if we had a team in there, and also what could have been if we kept Adam Fogg representing Australia, because I think he's run like a 3:52 mile now, hasn't he? He's come on
maybe
pretty well.
Even faster.
Yeah, okay. So he was pretty impressive on that 2K course, and yeah, got Great Britain the medal. That's a wrap.
Yeah, well crossed. Like, the African dominance is just crazy. I was looking at the results page, and you pretty much, if you're coming top 20, you're doing really well, because it's essentially 6 Kenyans, 6 Ethiopians, 6 Ugandans. It is essentially like the top 18 with maybe like a Tanzanian thrown in there or something like that. Whereas you see some of the middle distance races and some of the track races now, you've got some Americans and some Europeans sort of mixing it. But, when it comes to cross country, it is still just those 3 big countries that no one's getting close to them.
Yeah, I got this fact for you. Of the 27 medals on offer at World Cross Country Championships, 26 of them will be taken home by Kenya, Ethiopia and Uganda. Only GB, who got that bronze in the mixed relay, were the other one, other than those East African nations. So, yeah, pretty hard. But, there was just some stuff on Twitter I read today. Like, this was someone at the event. They said there was no obvious promotion around the city. There was no signage for spectators. There was no toilets or catering for spectators. No info on the website for spectators. No access to the start or finish area or the medal ceremonies. Super strict security. You couldn't hear the starting gun or commentary from on the course. So I think we're looking pretty good at Bathurst for what we put together, 12 months ago. And these guys did pick up this championship late after Croatia pulled out. So that was probably some of the reasons why it was a bit dull with everything else that's coming up in world athletics that other people are prioritising.
I also think Australia sort of got behind it because it's not very often you get to see the likes of Kiplimo and Cheptegei in Australia, whereas, I guess in Europe, people can go and watch these people race all over the place most of the year, whereas, we never see them down here, so we really got behind it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Just thinking back to that whole weekend, like how kind of special it was, and that we'll remember that for a long time, I reckon.
Was fun.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, to think we were driving like 7-8 hours for that, even longer. People just jumping in cars to go see these guys, and epic afternoon. I was thinking that today when I was watching. I'm like, this looks completely different to what we experienced last year.
Yeah, and how wild it was with extreme conditions, like extreme course, extreme conditions. They did put on a spectacle, that's for sure.
They did a great job. Albie Thomas Mile Croaks.
Yes, this was on Thursday night up at Bankstown. So this also was the Australian Mile Championship. So in the men's, Daniel Williams, who's like 17, he did a lot of the work early and was sort of rolling around 4-minute mile pace, maybe a touch slower. But then like last lap, Jesse Hunt and Jack Anstey just gapped the rest of the field pretty easily. And then it sort of came down to those two. There was a couple of times when it looked like Jack was maybe going to come over the top of Jesse, but he was able to hang on. Got the win in 3:59.09 to Jack's 3:59.26. Riley Bryce was third in 4:01.99. Did you guys watch it?
No, I missed this one. When was it? Thursday night?
Thursday night, it's pretty late. It's like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I was watching
it was watching that Daniel Williams on front was pretty cool, because I saw him up the first lap. I'm like, oh, this bloke doesn't look like a miler. He's a big unit, and he's just on there charging, and I reckon he's got caught up in the moment, and he's just a kid. Adrenaline's pumping through him. But then he held on really well. Like, he ended up running maybe 4:04.
4:04, yeah. It's funny, like guys like Jakob and Cam Myers have ruined it for all these juniors, because it's like in the past you go, 17-year-olds run a 4:04 mile, it's pretty damn good. But then you've got Cam Myers running low 350s. Similar age.
I'd be comparing myself to Roger Bannister if I was that kid. Don't go worry about Cam Myers. Remember when they said no one could possibly break 4 minutes, and now this kid's running 4:04?
Mate, you're gonna talk about old shoes.
Yeah.
Roger Bannister, old shoes.
Back on the cinders.
It's probably worth it. 348. Anyway, women's race. This was pretty slow early on. And then, Abby Caldwell, got the win pretty easily in the end. She won in 4:30.5. Lauren Ryan, back from the US, she got second in 4:32.19, just pipping Morty Skyring, 4:32.53. It was, pretty easy for Abby. Hey, Moose.
Yeah, for sure. She was a class above here. She just looked so professional when she took off. I mean, Lauren Ryan, she did well, I think, to come second there, given that, it's clearly not her distance. But Abby, when she made the move, you're like, oh, God, here it is. And it just extended and extended. So you're looking at a different caliber 1,500 or miler in her when she took off. Yeah. Lauren Ryan coming second in that field was pretty good, because you got Morty Skyring, who you'd suggest is about, he's one of our better national level runners.
Especially off a slow pace. But then again, you think to yourself, if you're running, even for us, if we're running 30 for 10K, we can run a pretty decent mile.
Yeah. That's a good point. 30 is probably much better than a 4:32 mile, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What about the dilution with Jess Hull in the 800 and Abby in the mile? When I was watching, I thought, oh, what a shame. Would have been good for those two to race. I think that's a problem with athletics when we see stuff like that. When you got they were the two big names at the meet, was Abby and Jess. And
likewise, Cam. Cam ran the 8, not the mile.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have been, but Cam had Jesse Hunt maybe as the main star against him. But you've got two genuine stars in Jess Hull and Abby Caldwell there. That would have been great to see them go at each other.
I can sort of see why Jess did it though. So why would Jess run the mile? Okay, it's an Aussie title, but she's got so many Aussie titles, and not only Aussie titles, Aussie records. She's raced a fair bit recently, but given Nationals are a few weeks away, and Nationals is obviously the real important one for probably confirming your spot on the team. The 800 probably worked for her in terms of sharpening up, whereas Abby had already run a few 800s, and I guess was now sort of stepping up to the distance that she will actually. I guess she'll race the 15 at Nationals. So I can sort of see why they did it, but from a fan's point of view, it would have been much better to see both of them in the same race.
Yeah.
I know it would have been.
Yeah, understandable. And it was pretty loaded 800s as well.
Yeah, well, speaking of the 800, so this was Peter Bowles' first race of the season, and so I think it was Ben Jagger from Run Crew. He did the pacing. Got the boys through pretty quick, through 400, 450, something like that. And then, Luke Boys was able to just hold off Pete Bowl in the end. He got the win in 1:45.45. So he's improved pretty much every race this season. Pete Bowl got second in 1:46.7, and Cam Myers was third in 1:48.19. Any thoughts on that?
Pete Bowl's first race back in a while, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's pretty good first up.
Yeah. Do you see him today at Stall?
I saw the last bit, yeah.
He nearly won, nearly got it. It was pretty close. Riley Bryce, Victorian 1,500 metre champion, just held him off.
Yeah.
What about Luke Boys? He's won the last couple of races now, the last couple of 8s getting around.
Sydney Track Classic. He beat Brady's boy, Peyton Craig, at Sydney.
Yeah. He's sort of come on the scene a little. I haven't, maybe he hasn't, but I just haven't really recognised the name or seen him winning in the past. I did
coached by Benny Saint.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that he was in his gym doing a workout, maybe the next day or the day after, or the day after the next day. Yeah, it's good to see some fresh names coming out. The 800.
It's going to be a good national championships. Like when you factor, you got Luke, you got Pete, who's going to be sort of getting better and better. You'd imagine each race. You have Charlie Hunter in there, Peyton Craig, missing somebody else, Joey Deng.
Will someone come back from college? Do we have good 800 college runner at the moment?
Not sure. I know we got Adam Spencer in the 15, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, both the 15s and the 8s are going to be great at nationals. In the women's 800, which we we're just chatting about, yeah, Jess Hull got the win there, but she didn't have it her own way. She won in 2:03.02. Imogen Barrett like pretty much pushed her the whole way. She finished second in 2:03.5, coming around maybe with maybe 80, 90 to go. It was like you weren't certain that Jess was going to like win at that point, but then was obviously just strong enough to get there. And Bandiria Boyer was third in 2:05.17, which surprised me a little bit. I thought Bandiria off the back of her 1:59 would have been a bit more competitive in that race.
Was it pace, Croaks?
Yeah, they did have a pacer actually. Yep, one of Ben Liddy's athletes, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch that. I missed this whole meet.
I watched it. Again, I thought Jess was very professional in how she went about it. Imogen Barrett was scary, though, for Jess, because she did not give her a single step in front. She was on her the whole way, and I actually thought that she was going to beat her as she turned the corner.
So did I.
Yeah, I thought she had the wheels, and it's easier to come from behind when you can see exactly what's happening in front of you. Like when you see the athlete in front, you get a good picture of them. If they show any type of weakness, you're right on them. And Jess is almost out there like a sitting duck. And it's Jess Hull. Massive target on her back anyway. Everyone wants to beat our best runner. And so I thought it was a great run from Imogen, but also Jess so professional that she can get it done when she needs to like that, even if she's winning from the when she's the targeted athlete. She has everything to kind of lose in those races.
Yeah. And then the last event, it was a 5K, which Josh Phillips got the win in 14:04 from Liam Buden, second in 14:15, and Luke Hintz third in 14:20. So that was the Albie Thomas mile.
Good meet. Looked good. Crowds as big as that 1500 a couple of weeks ago.
Similar, like they still had people on the infield, and I know that after the 800s, both the men's and the women's 8s, which were just before the mile, they were trying to clear the track because there was a heap of fans swamping Jess and Peter Bowl and those type of athletes. And it's like, oh, hang on, the meet hasn't finished yet. Can you please get off the track so we can run the mile races? But they do it well up there in terms of the access that the crowd have to the athletes is pretty cool.
That is cool, isn't it? You go up there, you see Jess Hull, Pete Bowl, Cam Myers. You can get a selfie of all these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The last bit of running news, Moose.
Yeah, over in the US at the Stanford Invitational 800, Adam Spencer won in 1:47.47. So the time's pretty good for a 15 guy, and he won, which makes it even better.
Yeah, and I saw his interview. He was flying to Australia that night, so he'll be back here now preparing for the Aussie Championships, which that 1500 is going to be amazing because we can only send 3 athletes to the Olympics, but there's probably 5 that are worthy of going to the Olympics. So there's going to be a couple of runners that are going to be obviously disappointed because you got Stewie, you got Ollie Hoare, you got Cam Myers, you got Adam Spencer, potentially throw Jesse Hunt and Jai Edwards in there. There's 6. So it's going to be an incredible 1500.
When is it?
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks time.
2 weeks.
Yeah. See Morgan McDonald's back as well. He's running around.
So he'll do the 5, I guess.
Yep, him, Kai in the 5.
Yep.
It's going to be good.
Yep.
Listen to the question, Craigs.
Yeah, so the question is, one thing I like about the show is that you're all open about the difficulties of juggling running with heaps of other demands on your time. I've recently got back into running. I did Sydney Marathon last year. My last marathon before that was London 2016. My wife and I have just had our second child, and I'm wondering if you have any advice for keeping up momentum and a base of fitness on less sleep and less time over the next year or so before my next marathon, which he's thinking of Copenhagen 2025. What are the key runs/sessions to keep fit as efficiently as I can? Thanks again all for the podcast. And that comes from Mark Pavley.
Good question.
So you boys have 2 kids, but you're also the 2 least busy people that I know.
We work a lot, Moose, between us.
I'm not sure you're in the best place to answer this, but you do have 2 kids, so I'll let you have a crack at it.
You just got to I'll add my place. It's just like getting your routines in order. Like, I'm not so much talking about what the most important runs are to keep your fitness going, but if you can the first step is if you can get your routines in order and get into good structure with your family life and have times that are locked in to exercise, that's the key. And then you can figure out what runs to be doing. I guess the long runs, having that every week, having some kind of, or just depends on where you're coming from. It's kind of hard to know exactly where his fitness is. So trying to run as much as possible, keeping life or home life as settled as possible. And I find the best way to do that is to get up early, go to bed super early, and then get up super early. Well, not even super early, maybe like 5:30 to make sure you can get in a routine and get your run done in the morning, because it's pretty... I guess it's rare to ever do an afternoon session and you try to get the workouts and the jogging done in the morning, so it kind of frees up the afternoon so you can clock off work and come home and help with the 2 kids, which is pretty important, especially if your wife's been home the whole day, to be able to tag team and help out. That's my best piece of advice. But then you got to break that down though. So like, how do you go to bed early? Like, you guys know I'm shocking it writing back to like Facebook messages after 8:30 because I just like turn my phone off and then So I know technology isn't great.
I haven't noticed that at all.
Haven't you?
Actually.
I always wake up with like 10 messages from you right back at 5:30 in the morning. So I have had things in place to make sure I can go to bed early, and recording podcasts on a Monday night isn't great for that. But sleep is the most important thing in all this. What do you Croaks?
Father of 2. I'll address firstly like the key session. So like, if you're strapped for time, I would always recommend, like, if you can, the long run is the most important. I think if you can get a long run in every single week, you're never going to go too far backwards. And if you're time poor, another session that I'd probably throw in is just like throw in some sort of surge or tempo in the middle of a run, because that's quite time efficient. It's ticking a lot of boxes. You can even mix it up and make it a bit more fartlecky to, I guess, change the energy systems that you're working. But from a whole, and the sort of stuff that you were talking about, Brady, like realizing that you don't actually need to be at the top of your game like all the time. Like realizing that just getting things done at a 7 or an 8 out of 10 is still going to make you a better runner. Like, yes, there's periods of time where you want to throw everything at it and be really, really disciplined. And like, that sounds like for Mark that's in the lead up to Copenhagen 2025. But if you're just ticking a lot of boxes without being super serious, you're still going to be progressing as an athlete, and you'll be in a good spot for when you do have the time in the lead up to that next major marathon. So that would be some advice from me as well.
Yeah, consistency is king.
I might,
the
practical stuff for me, I found it really beneficial to get a treadmill, especially during winter, and run after dinner. After dinner in the past has always been chill out, relax for me. I don't really do much work after dinner. It's just sit down, have a cup of tea and relax after the day. But they're the sort of things that you have to change. You don't get luxuries like that when you've got 2 kids, I imagine. I mean, I don't even get it with 1 kid. But I go into the treadmill after dinner, and I can sort of don't have to worry about a headlamp and jackets and getting wet when I come back, all that kind of stuff. I can just chill out chuck on a TV show or something, and I can get it done in the comfort of my own home. And that way I'm not wasting time driving to a trail or even just the leaving the house and everything. It does take time. And so if you really want to make your 30-minute run a 40-minute run, or your 40-minute run and maybe make it a 60-minute run, is don't drive to places, run to places, skip the little luxuries that you've had in the past. So it might mean that you don't get up and do bloody mobility exercises before you run, or you don't have that cup of coffee, you're just out the door a bit quicker. So it's sort of just sucking every minute out of the day where in the past you might have fluffed around a bit.
Have you got a shared document with like Bree and Viv where you like put in all your times at the start of the week when you're going to run? Like times of the day?
No, we just know which morning. Like Viv will run, like she'll do a Monday session and like a Thursday session, and then she'll do her long run on Saturday because I do mine Sunday, and then like I have my group sessions Tuesday, Friday. So we basically just structure her week, around so that we're not both having long runs on the same day.
Yeah. And you guys would have had conversations around that to plan that, so then it becomes workable for both of you.
Yeah. And I find as the kids get older, everything gets a lot easier as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they can look after themselves a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little, like when your kid can start feeding themselves in the high chair. Little things like that. That's just a game changer when you get to that level. What about our kids yesterday, Easter?
That's pretty early, right?
Yeah, but they're like 1 or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I thought you meant like Olivia just started doing that now. I'm like,
he's just got a newborn, hasn't he, this guy, Mark?
It's delayed.
What about Olivia yesterday? The Easter Bunny does a good job, sets up all these like hidden Easter eggs, does the good table display. And then Hudson gets up and he's like, oh, how good are these pajamas, Mum? And look at this coffee mug, it's got Transformers on it, and look at all these eggs. And then you just look over to Olivia and she's just ripping foil off, just trying to get down as many eggs as possible before someone tells her off. It's like we don't feed her. She's like just trying to absolutely neck as many chocolates as possible before, don't know how two kids can be so different.
I found out that I got a competitive kid yesterday on the Easter egg hunt.
Oh,
Did it with the neighbours.
Started throwing elbows?
Yeah, the neighbours put the eggs out and they got like 2 little kids and they said, oh, Pia, come over and do it. Pia grabs a basket and literally just sprints and collects every single egg before the other kids even had a chance to look up. I'm like, you got to put them back, Pia. Like, this isn't what it's about. And then just basically shadows them. And if they miss one, she just pockets it immediately.
So was she happy to share her like winnings or not?
Oh yeah, she didn't even care about him. All she wanted to do was go and get him before anyone else did.
Yeah, but she was happy to split them up when she got them. Well, that's good. That's nature and nurture, isn't it? You're born with that stuff.
Yeah, well, training's paying off. I've got to go around the couch, timing her for laps.
Hopefully I've answered your question there, Mark, with some kind of wisdom. It's pretty hard when you're talking about parenting stuff because everyone just does it different. So good luck with the 2 young kids.
One thing I know now is never judge someone else because you have no idea what those people are going through. And at the start, I was like, oh, why would you do that? Oh, we're never going to do that. And now I'm like, fuck it, we just do whatever. Like, well, the people that I was judging at the very start, like the parents, I do exactly what they're doing. And I'm thinking, oh, now I get it. I get it now. Like having your kid come into your bed early in the morning. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do that. I don't want it. That's annoying. Now I'm like, get her, like starts yelling, get her in. She'll go back to sleep in our room.
Yeah, we'll get an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm such a hypocrite. You haven't realized that yet, but I am.
No, we've noticed that. we knew that after episode 10, Moose.
Yeah, well, I've never noticed it as much as now.
You got a moose on the loose, Moose?
Nah, not really. Have you got one?
I've got no whispers either. No, actually, something did annoy me. Oh, I think I've done this before. Sitting at a family like gathering yesterday, Bendigo, just open up my Strava, and then like I get the notification that someone's broken my course record, but they've done it like clearly on a bike because they're running like 1 minute Ks. And the fact that you can't flag it on the phone is so like bad. Because I'm just like, when I get home to Echuca at 9 p.m. tonight, I'm not going to open my laptop and be like, you know what, I've got to go flag that Strava CR. So that's a bit of, that annoys me.
You'll be got the laptop in the car. You'll just excuse yourself.
Yeah, quick, we've got to go home now, Carly. Do you know what I mean? No, but it should be just a button. It should be a button. And then it goes so far down your notifications that like you've actually got to be actively hunting for it to then like go and get it back. The benefit should be on the person who's legitimately got it, not someone who's just gone for a bike ride, taken 30 crowns. That seems
like an odd feature not to have.
Michael Kernahan, let me know your thoughts on that because I reckon that would annoy him.
Bloke doesn't have a phone, so he's not bothered by this.
Oh, so he's laptop only. Man. Yeah, world record holder with the most Strava crowns. Do you know that?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm not sure they've like presented him with a world record, but I think he might have the most in the world.
Yeah. Still, I'll give it to him. That's something that annoyed me in the last 24 hours to do with running, but that's all I've got.
A lot of people disappointed about your whispers disappearing as
well. I'm going to bring them back. I just don't have any whispers. I thought about that, and I'm like, nah, like we shouldn't. I think last week I was a bit worked up because we got that message like 5 minutes before we got to the whispers segment. So I was really annoyed that those comments were made about our podcast and kind of just went, you know, a bit on instinct that I'm just fed up with these people in higher power positions making comments about our podcast. So I'm going to make sure when the whispers come, I think I'm going to put on it in an official complaint as well. Because I was thinking about, like, you make those comments in any other job. You make those comments in your shop or one of your staff members do. You'd be like, hey, we don't talk like that in our store.
Yeah.
If I did that in a school assembly, it'd be like, hey, I'd be losing my job.
You're also a member of that organisation.
Yes, and I also had to clarify, because I'd got the message like 5 minutes before, I had to actually do some more digging to just make sure that those comments were actually...
It didn't go out, or it did go out on the last episode?
It went out, but I beat the organisation before I got it clarified. Right. But I'm going to lodge an official complaint with that organisation because I think if you let those things go as well, those people in those positions just think it's okay to... and there was other comments about another...
That's what's wrong with our sport.
Yeah, no one stands up for themselves.
Just in there and there's no accountability.
Yeah. And it wasn't just
how do you reckon that complaint goes, Brady? Do you reckon it even actually like gets passed on to anyone?
Oh, I don't know. And like the thing is, you stand up and you put in a complaint, and you kind of know that, like, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a bit. Like, there's a significant race in Melbourne that I'll probably never get an elite start in ever again because I've stood up for myself. Do you know what I mean?
You know what though? Yeah. We'll follow that up once the complaint goes in. We'll follow it up, and we'll every episode we'll provide an update on it.
Yeah. So the whispers will keep coming. We've got some really good feedback. People are like, hey, don't let these people bury you. But anyway, we'll keep plugging away there. What's coming up, Croaks? Canberra Marathon, you'll be on the course. Jess Stenson, she's running a marathon this weekend. That's the big watch for the weekend, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Big time.
Got any whispers there about her fitness moves?
Nah, well, not really, but she's been going all right. She's been going all right. She's done some good workouts.
Tom Middleton's going over to pace her. Did you know that?
Yeah. She's got a pacer there for sure. And then I think her brother-in-law is going to look after the kids as well. So she's got looked after. She's got a little team heading over.
Predictions?
Tough. Don't really know the course. I know the last 10K is a rise, so it's a net gain over the last 10. So you're going up, which makes things difficult. I don't really know the rest of the course, and I haven't seen the weather. But let's just say she gets a good day of weather. I mean, you're throwing numbers out. She ran 2:25 or 2:24, was it, at that Perth Marathon?
Yeah.
That's insane, and she did that off relatively poor training, or not high volume training anyway. So she has incredible talent, and don't forget that at Commonwealth Games where she ran away from the field. Like this, I'm going to say 2:23 high. That's my guess. 2:23 high.
That's Daegu, isn't it too? That's the race we're talking about, Daegu Marathon. South Korea?
Yeah, I think the Seoul Marathon was last weekend. And maybe
yeah, just
Daegu
looking
this
at that
weekend.
elevation map now, Moose, you're right.
Yeah, there's a bit going on at the end.
Kind of from 36, slowly, it goes uphill. It's hard to tell. Do you know exactly what the whole course is? Elevation gain?
No, I don't.
She would have looked into all that before committing to this race, though.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, she also probably has a good relationship with the race. That's why she's there. Like in terms of her management or agent, probably can organise her a nice little relationship deal.
Should have looked up what it's usually won in. You think a 2:23 would be close to winning it.
I have seen the results from the past, but I think it almost be a bit different this year as well. Maybe, like she would be going there to give herself every chance.
160,000 first prize. That'd be all right. Good payday.
US.
I didn't say. Just said 160,000. Yeah.
Dollars.
Don't know. Could be like some Korean dollars that works out to like 25 grand Australian. I'm not sure. We'll tell you next week with that information. Then Precision, Fuel and Hydration. Moose, this is coming up down at your shop. April 17th, 5:30 p.m. It's a collab, a live event. Start time's 5:30. We'll have all these details, keeping repeating them the next couple of weeks. But the CEO's coming, Andy Blow and Johnny Ty, the COO. They're both coming to Australia. And where's the first spot they visit, Croaks? They go down to the running company Geelong to meet Julian Spence, the 2:14 man who went to the World Champs in 2019. Moose be doing a live Q&A on the fueling and hydration products. And then there's going to be some live sweat testing as well. I don't think everyone can do the sweat testing, Moose, but there will be some opportunities for some participants to do it.
Yeah, I think we can do some booking. I think there'll be a few spots where you can book in, but stay tuned for the details on that one. But yeah, this is going to be a cool little event. Like it'll follow on from the chat that you guys had with Andy back a few weeks ago, which I actually thought was really good. You answered he answered a lot of questions that we all had about nutrition, and it's a growing category in our store. We sell more gels than we've ever sold before, and people are really interested in the different products out there. So it'd be cool to have Andy and Johnny down there explaining what's going on within their range and how people can use different products. And I think there's going to be some giveaways, that kind of stuff at the event. So I reckon it'll be really fun. And I think people will get a lot out of it. Like it's not just go whack on a pair of wear test shoes and off you go for a jog. It'll be a chance to ask the actual people who design and consider the products that they're putting on the shelves. So if you really want to tap into some knowledge, come along and we can hammer them.
Nice of you to clarify that, Moose, because when Brady said Moose is doing a live Q&A, I thought that Andy's coming to town. You said, it's all right, Andy, I've got this. I'll answer all the questions. But you're just facilitating it, are you?
You're going for a jog first, too, aren't you? There's a jog as well before it starts.
You got the big dog in town and Moose is like, I've got this, fellas. It's all right.
This is what I did at Doha.
Yeah, just open the floor up. Anyone got any questions? This is Johnny. He's got a nice hat on. I'm really excited. Precision in our store is growing a lot as well. People like the flavour, and we've got a wide variety of products. I still can't believe how good the mint and lemon chews are. That is just a highlight too. Instead of having breakfast now, often I'll wake up and I'll just have one of those instead. Like I might drive down to the long run spot or drive into the workout. I'll just have a chew or two. It's a magic little piece of nutrition.
I do a similar thing, Moose. I'll before a session, after the warm up, I'll have half the packet in between the warm up and starting the session, just to give me a little bit that will kick in then when for the session.
Yep.
So there's a jog beforehand, Moose. That's at 5:30, and then all the Q&A and sweat testings afterwards. So April 17th, put that in your calendar. If you're in Geelong or anywhere near Geelong, or you want to drive to Geelong, we'll have some more information about how you can register for that Shortly. Free product to test. There'll be giveaways, and the last dot point, you'll get to meet the bad boy, Toby Mende, who will also be in person.
Oh,
So that's worth
come
striving
get
for.
his number if you're really keen. He just moved to Torquay.
Did he? Wasn't happy in Anglesey.
Moved on the weekend. He's out of Anglesey. He's gone.
He's got a diagnosis. Him and Chriso coming up on the monthly shortly, Patreon supporters. If you're wondering what else is coming up, that's coming up soon. Talking to him yesterday.
Yep, got himself a diagnosis on his hip, which is great news for him. Shaved his head too, which means he's motivated on the bike. I think he does that every time he starts biking. Starts to shave down. Again, for the ladies, if you're interested in that, he shaves down.
All right, this is a running podcast, not Toby Mende's dating podcast. Let's move on and finish up.
He needs all the help he can get, trust me.
Yeah, you've dropped this about 5 times on this show that he's single and ready to mingle.
Yeah, like I said, all the help he can get. But there's also, so that's, keep an eye out on Running Company Geelong's page, also Inside Running's page. I'm not sure how shareable our stuff is for Precision, but don't be afraid to give them a little follow too.
For sure. All right. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
Next week I'm not here, boy. Oh, I might be able to squeeze it in, but I'm off to Paris next week.
Was that next week?
Oh, yeah. We haven't even mentioned that, have we?
That's come around quick, hasn't it?
I know. Tell me about it.
Well, you only got about 3 weeks' notice. Tell everyone about your exciting
I'll
trip.
leave on Monday. I reckon I'm not going to be able to record unless we do it in the morning.
Yeah, we can talk about that off air. So you're going to Paris thanks to Nike. They're sending you over there for a 3-day conference, looking at all their gear leading into the to the Paris Olympics. Yeah,
so Inside Running will be a media partner for the event. There's a few media outlets going over. We are the podcast that's going over to cover it, and it's going to be a celebration of air, which is the like Nike Zoom airbags. I think that's kind of the theme of it. They're going to talk about product for Paris, I believe, and there's a few there'll be access to interview certain key people in the Nike development team, and there'll be athletes there.
Sha'Carri Richardson, you're interviewing. Beg pardon? Sha'Carri Richardson.
Well, yeah. I just don't know we're not locked into people. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't know the exact agenda yet either. So I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right. If we can't do next Monday morning, we'll see if we can get a replacement for you. We'll still be coming out, listeners. Something will be happening.
Or we do it, we get you for an hour in Paris, Moose, on Tuesday or whatever.
Mate, I'm in Paris for 2 days only. I'm not wasting it talking to you flogs.
You'll be able to catch up with your mate from Shoe Geeks, Elliot Heath.
He is going there, actually. I learned that he's the media man shoe developer. He's done some media training, so he's the face of it. Chris was telling me that he's the one that they wheel out in front of the press.
Okay, Croaks, what are you doing between now and next week?
So I'll be on the streets of Canberra for the Canberra Marathon. Also doing a little shakeout run the day before, Brady, with your mob, Lululemon.
Oh, yeah, that's nice of you. The Lululemon shakeout jog for Canberra Marathon.
Yeah, so I think we're meeting at their store at 10 a.m.
You wearing their shoes?
You wearing the new shoes, Beyond Feel?
Well, I've got to go in there on Wednesday. I think they're going to give me some stuff.
Oh, that's good. Get in the Beyond Feels, Croaks. I'm going to Melbourne.
Hold up. Is there a little signing booth in the... Brady doesn't even get this treatment.
No signing booth. So one of the guys I coach, Tim, he's a store ambassador, and he reached out to Brady to see if Brady would do the shakeout run before Canberra Marathon, and Brady's like, mate, I'm not traveling 6 hours for a shakeout run. Hit up Croaks. So so he asked me to do it, and I was like, yeah, okay. So so I'm going to do my long run on Saturday morning, and then go and do a shakeout run at 10.
10 o'clock Saturday morning.
I think they're putting on coffee afterwards, and then there'll just be a bit of Q&A about, I guess, the Canberra course and maybe some fueling and that sort of thing. So I think it runs between 10 and 12 Saturday.
Oh, this is good. Get plenty of photos for us.
Yeah, everyone's got to get a selfie with Croaks. Think of a hashtag Brady will roll with.
Get Can
King
you
of Canberra.
get
Hashtag King of Canberra.
Use that. We'll search that. Can you get the white on white pair of shoes, Croaks? They're the best looking ones.
See what I can do, Brady.
They're pretty good. They're not a bad shoe. I'll review them in a couple of weeks. Got a few more.
Hoping I get a pair of half tights.
You'll do what?
Oh, I got some.
Will you?
I got some. Get me on Shoe Geeks, Moose. I'll give you a good rundown of them. Half tight. I got some new half tights the other day, Croaks. They're good. The new one's coming soon. Anyway, we've got to move on. See you, boys. That was episode number 335. Do it all again next week.
Have funny Paris, Moose.
Oh, yes. I've got to get you that microphone, Moose. Post you that tomorrow morning.
Yeah. See you.
And I'm gonna hold my head up high. I was taught as a young man, doesn't matter if you're white or black. Just show love to everyone you meet, doesn't matter.